You've never met another person. Not really. You've met the idea of other people. Bodies that move, faces that react, voices that seem to come from somewhere. But you have never once stepped inside another mind and confirmed anyone was home. You assume they are. You have to. The alternative is too heavy to carry around all day. But assumption is not proof. And that gap between what you assume and what you can actually verify has a name. Philosophers call it the problem of other minds. Nobody has ever solved it. Nobody ever will. Not with logic, not with faith, not with certainty of any kind. Here's the uncomfortable version of that idea. What if the reason you can't solve it is that there's nothing to solve? What if you're not failing to detect other minds? What if there simply aren't? What if there's one mind? Yours. And everyone else, every friend, every stranger, every person who has ever made you laugh or broken your heart is a very convincing part of the scenery. This isn't new. It's called solipsism. Philosophers have poked at it for centuries, mostly to dismiss it, because it's the kind of idea that can't be argued with. It can only be believed or not believed. But dismissing an idea isn't the same as disproving it. And this one has a strange habit. It gets harder to dismiss the closer you look. You already know the quantum thing. Particles behave one way when nobody's watching. They behave differently the moment someone checks. Most people hear that and think, spooky physics fact, a party trick of the universe, something to mention and move past. But sit with it for a second. Not as trivial as a structural claim. The physicist John Wheeler spent the second half of his career on a single dangerous idea. He called it the participatory universe. His shorthand for it was 3 words: it from bit. Meaning, reality isn't a fixed stage that observation happens to walk into. Observation might be the thing that builds the stage. Every act of measurement, every glance, every moment of attention, not recording what's there, generating what's there. If that's even partially true, then a mind isn't a passenger in the universe. A mind is closer to a printer. And you have never, not once, in your entire life, experienced a moment of reality that didn't pass through your own observation first. Every sunrise you've seen, every room you've walked into, every person's face, rendered instantly right. Not before. You call this the world. But you have no way of knowing whether the world exists when you're not looking at it, or whether not looking and not existing are the same sentence wearing different clothes. Now, here's where most people expect this to feel exciting. Being the only real one, being the source, the single point every experience radiates outward from. That sounds like power. It isn't. Think about what it would actually mean. If you are the only mind that has ever existed, then every act of love you've ever received was performed by something that couldn't actually love you back, because there was nothing behind the performance to do the loving. Every person who stayed up with you through a bad night, every stranger who once, for no reason, was kind to you at exactly the right moment. Scenery, beautifully rendered, perfectly convincing, but empty behind the eyes. If that's true, you are not a god sitting on a throne. You are a god standing in a room built entirely by yourself, furnished entirely by yourself, populated entirely by yourself. And there is no one in it to tell you that you did a good job. There never was. There never could be. That's not power. That's the loneliest sentence a mind can construct. Being the only real thing doesn't mean you win. It means you will always and will always be the only one who has ever specific moments you'd have to give up. The friend who noticed you were having a bad week before you said anything. The stranger on the train who gave up their seat without being asked. Every single time someone looked at you, and for just a second, you felt known. If you were the only mind here, none of that was ever recognition. It was reflection. You looking into a very elaborate mirror, mistaking your own shape for company. Maybe that's why nobody actually believes this, even when they can't disprove it. Not because the logic fails. The logic is fine. But because some part of you, the same part that has loved someone, that has needed someone, that has ached to be known by someone, refuses to accept a universe where none of that ever landed anywhere. Refuses to accept that the person who once looked at you like you mattered was just leather. Maybe that refusal
They finally
is the
turned the lights
strongest
on for
evidence
us.
you have. Not proof.
But there's still no way out of
The kind
here.
that doesn't hold up in a philosophy
They finally
paper,
turned the lights
but
on for
somehow
us.
still holds you up.
But there's still no way out of
Here's where
here.
this actually leaves you. You cannot prove other minds exist. You cannot prove they don't. You are, and have always been, the exact center of everything you've ever perceived, whether that's an accident of biology or the entire architecture of reality. And somewhere between those two possibilities is a question with no bottom. What if you're the only one who was ever here? What if you're not? You will not find out tonight. You may not find out at all. But notice this. You're still here, thinking about it. Something is. We just don't know what. Anyway, if I'm the only real thing in existence, thanks for watching yourself watch this. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Who would support me, if not you?